I can go.
You can go.
Hello.
Hi, Rebecca.
I'm Rebecca, for those who don't know. And I'm here today to tell you a story. And a story of this girl who wanted to travel the world. She's a Portuguese girl who lives in an island in the middle of the ocean, known as the Pearl of the Atlantic. Her life was like a dream in the eyes of others. She had amazingly stable parents who allowed her to live as she pleased. She had 4 houses, one with a huge pool and a trampoline, one apartment in the middle of the city, one camp house on the north side of the island full of trees, entire fields of strawberries, and every other fruit or vegetable you can possibly imagine, with an extremely peaceful man-made lake in the middle of it. And one last house in a neighboring island where its entire coast was the most beautiful beach and crystal clear water you can possibly envision. Yellow sand, blue or green water depending on the sunlight. And her house was made of glass walls where you could see the sun slowly fading through the ocean until it was gone. And the stars and the moon became the only light you could see just by sitting on her living room couch. She had a modern gray car that allowed her to go from one house to another, and her dad owned the boat that connected both islands, which enabled her to go to this other island whenever she wanted to. School was easy for her, frustrating but easy. She was always a really good student and never had to put a lot of effort into it, which others, including teachers, thought to be unfair. Incredibly sociable, never had problems making friends, an extrovert, others would say. A confident girl, some would even say to be intimidated by. Everyone knew who she was. At least everyone thought they did. Just like all of you right now made assumptions of what her life was, others did too. The ability of humans have of judging and believing realities they think to be true based on what their eyes see, it's incredible. That girl was often seen by her 4 houses in a giant boat that connected both islands before they saw the person she truly was. Turns out the house with a huge pool and a trampoline meant nothing but memories for her. Memories of when her parents were still together, and every time she went there, it was like time flashed back to when she was running around the house, jumping up the stairs and sliding down railings, baking cakes with her best friend at 3 a.m. in the morning, and jumping from the trampoline into the pool when it was 50 degrees out. The house on the north side of the island reminded her of her childhood, of Christmas, when her entire family came together to celebrate a holiday that at the time meant way more to her than it means right now. It meant family, reconnecting with all those people that share the same blood as you do, and that by some reason spent an entire year without seeing each other. Essentially, it meant comfort and warmth. Today, that same house became only one more house, made of cold cement blocks, empty. And Christmas became just another holiday away from school. Her house in the island next to where she lived was indeed a dream. And what truly remained in her memory was not seeing the sunset turn the whole sky orange, but who she saw the sunset with. It was not the house itself, but the memories she created there. Memories of when she played card games, of when she won card games against her dad, and all the time she spent there with him. It was drinking beer with her friends and playing poker until 4 or 5 in the morning. The only place she could actually call home was the apartment in the middle of the city. It had no pool, no lake, no glass walls. It was just a normal apartment, but how she felt there, she felt no place else. She could look out the window and see the ocean while contemplating the mountains. She lived there with her mother and one of her 2 sisters. She felt safe within those walls, but she had always wanted more. Not more houses, not more fancy cars or giant trampolines. She wanted to challenge her limits, get out of her comfort zone. She wanted to travel the world. And she did. Her dream came true, and that girl is today standing here talking to all of you. I am that girl, and this was my life. I decided to give you all the lenses from which most people saw my life from, the lenses I sometimes also had on. Through these lenses, it becomes hard to actually see anything at all. They somehow blind you and put wrong assumptions in your head that sometimes are hard to break. Maybe out of disinterest, we lose the desire of getting to know that Portuguese girl or many other humans we already have strong opinions about without even once having taught to them. Or maybe our brains create wrong judgments based on these lenses, and out of fear or even jealousy, we distance ourselves from others. I too have created those assumptions, and sometimes they seem so real that it becomes a true challenge to distance myself from them. They're not based on others' opinions of a certain person, but my own head has made those assumptions. The first time I looked into his student profile and I saw the faces I would be traveling with for 7 months, and I started reading the small bios where we were supposed to write our interests. I remember looking at my mom with a real disappointed face and saying, "Mom, all of them wrote that they love to read. What if they're all nerds?" Yes, in case if you're wondering, I'm not a huge reader. In fact, I read double in this trip than I did in my entire life. So that's a win, kind of. Don't get too excited though, I only read 2 books on this trip, so you can now make your conclusion. Anyway, I was kind of joking, kind of freaking out. That day, without even having met or seen any of these people, had some sort of opinion about them. Only by reading their small bios that I too lied on. The day that we all met at the JFK airport, that extremely awkward day where we took that terrifyingly awkward picture, that we all pretended to like each other, putting our arms around a stranger and smiling, and trying not awkwardly presenting ourselves, trying not to seem really creepy because most of us, except from Alex, who didn't even bother to join the Facebook group, already knew everyone else's entire life by social media stalking. Well, that day was like a buffet of feelings, breaking and creating assumptions. Turns out nothing has changed really. 7 months later, and we still take really awkward pictures. I think we only got worse. And we still kind of pretend to like each other. That day was probably one of the most terrifying and overwhelming days of this trip for me. My brain kept creating these ideas of who people were, but at the time I did not acknowledge them as assumptions. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever thought about assumptions before TBB or what they truly meant. Although they were present in my life almost on a daily basis. The assumptions created by others about me highly influenced how I connected with them, or even if I connected with them at all. It has always been easier for me to not care about what others thought of me. I've always had the mindset that the only opinions that really mattered were the ones my friends had of me, which hasn't changed completely, but it turns out that I never gave others the opportunity to break these assumptions. And who knows, you create a friendship. I've always taken the easy way out, saying to myself, I've learned to live with others' judgments, and by not caring about them, I would be helping myself. Looking back, it almost seems like a hypocritical idea. I've made assumptions, I'm constantly making them. It's a human characteristic, it's inevitable. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, we just need to acknowledge them and be ready to let them go when the time comes. The first week at Ingwe, South Africa, I confirmed my fear of traveling 7 months with stereotypical loud Americans. What did I even know about Americans? Whatever it was, or whatever I thought I did, it was probably wrong. Yes, this group was particularly loud and fell in love with each other in an impressively short amount of time, but is that really a bad thing? In South Africa, I struggled to truly connect with people, and through my eyes, basically everyone did but me. I felt like I was out of place, like I didn't fit in. Maybe because I was the only non-American, or maybe because English was not my first language, and I felt uncomfortable or self-conscious about speaking it. Whatever reason it was, it reinforced my assumptions about Americans. From my perspective, everyone was being fake, expressing how much they loved each other and how they felt to be part of family already. I couldn't comprehend how you could have such strong feelings and emotions about someone else when you only met them for like a week or a month. I felt like I too had to start playing that game, and words started coming out of my mouth that my heart didn't feel. I felt like I was faking, pretending to feel and even be someone I was not. Time kept passing and I kept deluding myself, believing things were getting better, telling everyone back home that yes, I'm creating a family. When the truth was, I was only trying to make myself believe that as much as I could, refusing to accept the fact that I was the outsider, seeing everyone else creating a family that I was not part, or at least I didn't feel part of. The day that I finally realized that I had to stop being a player of that game came, and my mouth started to be synchronized with my head and my heart, and for better or for worse, I started being like myself again, truthful to my values. People started to know each other, and the honeymoon phase started to end. Then India came. Oh, India. The truth is, you brought us together. And besides the millions of chapatis traditional Northern Indian bread. We were everything we had. Through the frustrations and kind of forced vulnerability, I started to love myself, trust the people I was traveling with. I started to feel safe within this little TBB bubble I was part of. I started to feel connected, comfortable to share parts of my identity that up till then I couldn't. I was rooming with Sarah at the time, and to be honest, I don't think I could have made it through India without her. I have to admit though, before rooming with her, I don't think we ever said a word to each other, and I was kind of terrified of her. Turns out she's the most amazing person alive. She thinks she has her life all over the place when actually she has her shit together. She, for some reason, made talking to her so easy. Going home after an exhausting day of work and seminars that proved that everything we were doing was wrong, and learning that education has not only the power to liberate but also to oppress was comforting. Yes, I almost froze to death every night, sleeping in a bed that was harder than the floor, but she made it worth it. Through our love-hate relationship, I realized that I wasn't an outsider anymore, and that I had people there that I truly care of how I was feeling, people who I didn't need to pretend anymore. I could drop the smile and embrace the tears. People in general started to surprise me in incredibly positive ways. And when I got to the top of that Himalayan mountain, almost 3 months into this trip, and we all woke up at 6 in the morning and sat on this giant rock, contemplating the sun rising and reflecting its rays of yellow light on the thin layers of white snow, it truly hit me why I chose to be part of this program, and how the people that were there with me, that basically dragged me out the mountain, already meant the world to me. As I referenced before in the story of that Portuguese girl, my story, I was raised with this label of a social kid, an extrovert, a label that I ended up believing in and trying to live up to it. I'm not an extrovert, and these labels that you give to yourself so others give to you, that you end up accepting, are just excuses that sometimes are convenient to use or create standards you feel the need to live up to. Yes, I ended up making friendships that I want to carry with me for the rest of my life, and I'm not only saying this because I theoretically got married to Jenny and Julie. And marriage is forever. But because the people that I met 7 months ago that were nothing but strangers, today I physically can't imagine my life without them. That does not mean I'm an extrovert though. When I started this trip, everyone thought I was this shy, quiet girl that came all the way from Portugal. Well, turns out I'm not quiet or shy or anything close to that. I simply was terrified of how others would think of me, which was the first in my life. I desperately wanted people to like me, which ended up transferring this wrong idea of who I was. For the first time, people assumed things about me based on what they knew of me, as opposed to the assumptions created by the 4 boats in the house, for the 4 houses in the boat I own, which ended up being way more terrifying. Today, the story of that Portuguese girl is a little different. She still has 4 houses, 1 giant boat, and a trampoline, but she has seen the world. And once again, what truly remained in her memory was not jumping off a bridge or being way too close to great white sharks. It was not the privilege of seeing the 2 world wonders or jumping out of a plane. It was not wandering around the streets of Chiang Mai or New Delhi, Quito or DC. It was not the beaches of South Africa nor the mountains in India. It was not the immense fields of rice in Thailand nor the breathtaking views in Ecuador. It was the people she traveled with. It was the memories she created with these people. It was the love and laughter everyone around her provided. She now felt complete, happy, falling in love not only with the world, but with the people in it. With this program, I came to realize how important relationships are for me, how in fact they're the most important things in my life. In this program, I made relationships that I want to carry with me not only for the rest of my life, but beyond that. With that, I'm taking this opportunity to tell my family of 18 how big of an impact you had in my life. I've never been able to handle goodbyes, and yet I never had a sense of community or family like this with any other group. I just want to tell you how grateful I am for every little piece of you I got to know. This program was indeed the best 7 months of my life, and yet it has nothing to do with traveling the world. You guys made this trip for me. You shaped me and helped me grow. You saw me, you helped me see beyond assumptions and saw me without lenses. You made me hike the mountains instead of contemplating them from my window. Each and every one of you made me the girl that's standing before you today. So thank you. Thank you, TBB, for making this experience possible. Thank you, Dad, for making this dream of mine come true. Thank you, Mom, for always supporting me and making me believe in myself and what I'm capable of. Thank you, Laura, for fake paddling and making the tears coming out of my eyes tears of insane laughter. Thank you, Emily, for being a role model. Patrick, for your wise words. Thank you, Julia, Mom, for being a little princess, a hilarious one. Thank you, Lily, for sharing my excitement with the word strawberry, also known as strawberry with a Thai accent. Thank you, Mandy, for your comforting, warm hugs. Sam, for filling the room with your insanely loud voice. I am still unsure how that comes from such a small person. Thank you, Patty, for sharing my frustrations for climbing up that hill every day, 3 times a day. Thank you, Nelson, for your amazing knowledge you provided me on top of the important points of seminar readings I didn't do. Ellie, for your weirdness and making me laugh every time. Oh, and for your strange obsession for bananagrams. Thank you, Noah, for your peacefulness. Aaliyah, for your creativity and optimism. Alex, for somehow being lazier than I am, which takes a lot of effort. Thank you, Jules, for still loving me, even though I didn't like Lord of the Rings. Jenny, for your unconditional love for animals. Every animal. No animal gets left behind. Sarah, for somehow always being there when I needed you to be. Sophie, for always having been there since the first night to the last one. For your sense of humor and the ability of making me feel better, no matter what scenario we're on. I can never put into words how I feel about all of you, but I do want you all to know that I'm forever grateful to have shared these emotions, feelings, awkwardness, and insanity with every one of you. You made the happy ever after ending of the story of that Portuguese girl, of my story. Any questions? No, that's fine too. No? Okay. Thank you.